Hello, hello. It is me, Joshua Harrell, and welcome to our Partner Spotlight. This is where we get to go deep in learning all about some fantastic travel products, travel destinations, experiences. The thing is we don't do these shows all the time. So I am overjoyed to be back in the studio in the Sequin Palace. That's what this is called, with my very good friend, who we realized that we first met during the incident, as the Icelandic people call the pandemic period. We got to meet via Zoom or whatever. And I knew that this was going to be a lifelong friend, and our friendship has only grown further. And the more and the more I learn about his brand, Rocky Mountaineer, it just makes me excited. So we're gonna have a grand time. If you are watching us live and you are a member of our network, then be in the members only Facebook group, because that's where you can ask questions, share stories, and of course, I'm gonna ask my own questions. I don't need your help, but I would love to have you participate. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest, Jeff Caesar. Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming and being in the Sequin Palace. Is it what you expected it to be?
Honestly, I'm actually even more impressed. It's quite a great studio, and no, I'm being real. Like, I'm not trying to
This is somebody who has worked in Hollywood lots before.
It is true.
No,
but I'm impressed with just the whole setup. You'll see it's a very small room if you actually come here, but I am more than happy to be here. Travel Pros, thank you all for your time, your amazing support. Joshua, that was so kind of you to say. And honestly, the support that I've gotten from you, World Via, the whole Travel Pro community has just been unbelievable. It's been fantastic. The growth we've seen over just since I took over this account has been amazing. And I know that there's a lot of future opportunities to really take it to a whole nother level. So I'm very excited to be here and to share a true insider of what it's like traveling and experiencing Rocky Mountaineer.
Yeah. So first, let's start. So for anyone watching us right now, I don't want to say do the elevator pitch, but in a way kind of do the elevator pitch, because I was calling it Rocky Mountaineering in the beginning, like a little Imagineering kind of a thing. So Rocky Mountaineer, what is it? You've been around, it's like 33 years?
33 years been operating, yes.
Yeah, so this isn't just a brand new thing. This has been around. So tell us about the brand.
More than happy to. So we are a train and tour operator, like Joshua just stated, 33 years, privately owned. We are a luxury, fine dining, seamless travel experience where you'll never sleep on board. You stay in hotels every night, because when you're sleeping, you're missing the sights, the scenery, the wildlife, the wilderness, and it will end up being one of the most expensive naps of your life. I swear, it's not good. So, with that being all said, we handle everything for you. The hotels, transfers, tours, everything on the train is all inclusive. Only things we don't really handle, but I know the travel pros out there will be able to take care of it for you, is flights, travel insurance, and a few meals off the train. There are some tours we have where meals are built into, having some dinners in the evenings, even breakfasts at certain hotels. But other than airfare, insurance, travel insurance, and a few meals, we try to take care of it all under one, if you call it, umbrella, and deliver a true trip of a lifetime close to home. We're operating in the Canadian Rockies as well as the U.S. Rockies into Moab, Utah, with Arches, Canyonlands, and then into the beautiful Utah area, Bryce, Zion, Coral State Reef Park, so much, Monument Valley, a lot to see in our own beautiful country.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I found most interesting during the incident. Again, I really like that term, so I'm going to make that stick.
Yeah.
We were all looking for things that we could do in the country. And I don't know. I mean, this is my personal take on being American. I'm very focused on, I live in Atlanta. I do travel, but, Atlanta is America to me. But not really. There's a whole heck of a lot out there that I have not seen. So that's, again, that's kind of when we met is, hey, there's more than Canada. But what I mean, how long have you been operating in the States? Has that always been a part of the brand?
No, we actually started in the middle of the incident. It was 2021. In fact, we were looking at branching out and having this new U.S. route, but it was going to be starting around 2023, 2024. The biggest, I would say, hurdle we have is the U.S. government. Go figure. And so once we were able to kind of work out pretty much the rights on the tracks and logistics of all the other trains operating, which is it takes some time. We were in the midst of this pandemic, 2021. The entire country shut down, as you know, and really the stars kind of aligned because the government was also looking at ways to grow revenue and help support tourism. And so we were kind of moved up closer to them and said, hey, listen, we're ready to operate. We can move our trains down within a month. We can get things going. But if you give us the green light, we worked with the local governments of the Utah and Colorado state governments. We had to follow their guidelines. And thankfully, they were very open and honored for us to start. So 2021, after 3 months of selling, we had over 7,000 guests decide to book with us during the middle of the COVID pandemic. We were the only supplier to start a brand new operation in the middle of the incident. And we were the only supplier that thankfully we were operating in such a small area where we had to follow these strict guidelines. There was no vaccination requirement. Not trying to be political by any means, but we treat people like adults. You want to be vaccinated, great. You don't, you can still travel with us. There was no issues of traveling outside of the country and having to test to get back into the country and going into that quarantine period, which was always a higher risk for travelers out there.
So you're bringing back.
I know.
Bringing back memories. I forgot all about that whole thing. Like, I'd have to go through the drive-through to get tested, within certain hours before I got on the flight. Yeah, I'm
so
forgetting
all
about all of that.
We were able to avoid. Well, of course, we had our Canadian Rockies, which also started operating in 2021. Okay. But for all of a majority, I would say over 50% of the guests that travel with us are from the United States. And they were able to travel within the country of our own with very little to no risk and be able to experience the incredible Southwest National Park. So we started operating in 2021. Year over year, we've seen about a 30 to 40% growth. It's just been really getting exciting to the point where we are looking at adding new routes into the U.S. and expanding, which is quite exciting over the very near future. So I really believe we've just started. We've if you will, just touch a tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot more that we have to go through. Canadian Rockies is incredible. It's breathtaking. It's beautiful, and I do want to share more about that, how seamless and just a true, unique experience it is. But the U.S. is something that very few operators do the way we do it with a luxury train. And so we're not like Amtrak or Via Rail. There's a lot of differences between us.
Did you just throw shade? Wait a minute.
Very different.
You just threw shade. I feel like that's not fair. That's out of bounds.
It is true. But I'm also very candid and transparent if you don't know who I am. And I'm just saying we're different. It's a very unique type of experience to the point we're going to get you from point A to point B, but our average train speed is only 30 miles an hour. We slow down to less than 5 miles an hour for all the bridges, the waterfalls, the wildlife, the wilderness.
Things you want to see.
Things you want to see.
Yeah.
When it comes to food on board, it's true fine dining. Everything is literally prepared a few feet away from where you're sitting. We're not nickel and diming you. Everything is all inclusive. We're talking appetizers, entrees, desserts, open bar, all-inclusive alcohol, wines with our local wineries we bring on board, local beer, local liqueur. Everything is really sourced at a local level. So the train in the U.S. has different food and drinking products as opposed to the one in Alberta and British Columbia. But it's just quite unique the way we operate. I'm not trying to throw shade by any means. It's different. Different. And you can be real as I will be. I can take it just as I bring it.
I totally feel you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that we actually reference the fact that these are not trains.
Right.
These are not the trains of some of the brands that you mentioned. These are trains with a lot of windows.
Yes.
You are
dome windows.
You are immersed in the views. So not only are you seeing beautiful, breathtaking scenery, the things that songs have been written about, right? Okay, like you're seeing, and I'm just talking about America right now. I'm not even talking about Canada, but which is beautiful. I'm just saying you're seeing from sea to shining sea. You are seeing all this breathtaking scenery, but you are not seeing it like you're on the subway, like peering out, like yeah, that's not what this is. It's a really it's designed for you to experience the view and little surprises along the way.
Yeah.
Because not only some of the trees aren't moving around, the rocks aren't moving around, but there's some occasional animals we get to see, right?
Oh, 100%, yes. In fact, you just said surprise, and I'm like I've always been. I'm going to be honest and tell you a funny little story.
Okay.
So, first, to circle back, on the train, you have dome windows on all of our train cars. No matter where you're in the U.S. or Canada, it's dome arch windows, incredible service, even outdoor veranda space. So you can go outside and soak in the scenery that's going by at such a slow speed and breathe in that fresh mountain air or the red rock air and just not, feel like you're attached to what you're going by, if you will.
Cool.
But this little surprise you were saying, in the U.S., now we get a lot of wildlife near the Canadian Rockies, a lot. In the U.S., it's a desert, especially in the summertime where we're traveling. So the wildlife is more sparse, but we do see some surprises along the way. This route and the majority of the places our trains travel through are not accessible by any car or motor coach. You either have to be hiking for days or doing maybe some whitewater rafting experience of some sort, because a lot of times we follow these amazing rivers and everything. Right. The mighty Colorado River is the one that we follow for the majority of the time between Moab, Utah, Glenwood Springs, and Denver, Colorado, which is where our train is currently operating at this time. Okay. And what you do see a lot of, and people are for men and women, even some kids love it, you get a lot of moons, if you get where I'm going at, where a lot of moons are being shown along the way, because all of the people who are whitewater rafting love the train coming along. And we're going at such a slow speed that everyone, just, shows up the moons, and boy, that's when the cameras come out. So just being real, it's a surprise. But hey, it's real wildlife at its finest.
I love how you've captured that in your brochures. No, that is
it's not there. That'd be funny if it was.
Wow.
The different moons.
You just made a whole new demographic to market to, just for the American car. So yes, it's all about the glass, and I love the fact that you can go outside and experience, breathe in the air, and all the moons that surround.
Not so much in Canada. We do have a naked farmer that occasionally does his. I'm serious. He will be on his tractor right when the train's coming around, and he'll be real naked. And yeah, always when you see naked people, it's not the people you want to see naked. So put that also in your mind too. I'm not trying to sell nakedness. Anyway.
Well, how do you top a naked farmer?
We're just getting real.
Yeah, we're just getting real. But to your point, let's bring it back. You were talking about the fact that you're not sleeping on the car.
Correct.
Unless you fall asleep.
Yeah, or you drink too much, and that happens.
But it's all inclusive, right?
That
so
is.
it can happen.
Yeah.
You eat too many desserts. You're gonna But the experience for overnight, then you're staying at hotels along the way. So you're not on the train the whole time. I think about the old-timey movies where it's like you have the bunk beds. Most of them are like murder mysteries. That's what's coming to mind right now. So there's no murder mysteries on the Rocky Mountaineer.
We've had zero death.
Yeah,
zero.
It's a good stat.
Maintain that stat.
Some companies have safety records. They just there are no murders on the Rocky Mountaineer trains.
Correct.
There we go.
That's
good. Knock on wood. Yeah. Let's not curse that experience. But you do get to stay along the way at some. You get choices of different levels of hotels, right?
Correct.
So where are my choices? What are my choices like?
So we will not work with any hotel that's 3 stars, or we work 3 to 5 stars. Nothing below 3 stars. So we're not going to a motel or a place where you got to put a quarter in the bed and make it move. It's literally 3 to 5 star properties that will help you work with your budget to be able to pretty much much create this amazing trip of a lifetime close to home, but not break the bank and allow you to do what's comfortable for you. Perhaps you want to splurge more on the tours and the meals and the train experience. But hotels, you're going to be there for a couple nights here and there. It's not the biggest deal to you. Other people perhaps want to make it rain, and we'll have the top suite, villa, whatever it may be, at these beautiful castles we have in the Canadian Rockies, operated by Fairmonts, which are very well known and established. But it really is to each his own, and that's the best thing about being able to work with your budget and book it all through under one tour operator and train operator, and make it so that it's from beginning to end seamless, which is quite ideal, definitely. And I was going to add that when it comes to staying in hotels, we want you to have that opportunity to slow time down and enjoy where you are. So we're not, only time you'll ever do one night only is in between train days. Like between Denver and Moab, since we're talking about the US, we overnight in Glenwood Springs. That's for one night. When we get to Moab, we want you to spend, in fact, all of our itineraries have a mandatory of 2 nights. So you're able to slow time down, have that full day of leisure. In the Canadian Rockies, Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, if you just do one night, you're checking in the evening and checking out first thing in the morning. You'll regret rushing through this beautiful part of the world. We are going to hopefully have you stay at least 2 nights, maybe 3. You can book things outside of Rocky Mountaineer. If you want to use your points or miles, you share with your travel pro and tell them, I want to do this, but I've saved all these points and I'm trying to work with my budget. You be real and honest and tell the travel pros exactly what makes sense for you, and they'll be able to, once again, customize and put together this unique experience that works with your budget, even if you have to book outside of the Rocky Mountaineer umbrella. You just let us know what hotels you're staying at, and so we can handle the luggage transfers, the transfers of yourselves to and from the train or on tours, whatever it may be. But it's very, I don't want to say too customizable, but we really try to be, have a lot of different options for everyone to work with anyone's budget to the most part.
And that's really where I love that you brought up travel pros. The travel pro can look for those opportunities that to take and go out and do something that they know is going to be very unique and special for you. So always work with a travel pro. If you are watching this and you're not a travel pro, always work with a travel pro, because that's where you're going to get the best experience.
I was going to say, they are some of the preferred partners of Rocky Mountaineer. They're the best at what they do. And honestly, if you are going to go somewhere new, somewhere different, it's not your typical, ocean river cruise. And even those can be somewhat unique and challenging in their own way. But we are very different from those similar types of other types of suppliers and tour operators out there, because of how, if you will, where we operate and how there's very few other operators operating where we do. You can work with a travel pro and rest assured that they're going to look out for every single item that you may be interested in, and they hopefully will go above and beyond to make sure that it is a incredible, memorable experience. And that's the best thing about working with travel pros, is that they got you from beginning to end. Whatever we can't do, the airfare, the insurance, they can help you out with that and just make it buttoned up perfect.
Yes. So speaking of travel pros, I want to go over to our Facebook group we have a few people that want to say hello. Debbie from Swim, Washington. I know she's from Swim because I have called it Sequim before. So Debbie, she said, hello, Jeff and Joshua. Sherry said, hi, Jeff. Thanks for everything you do.
Aw. Hi, Sherry. Thank you.
And if you don't know what Jeff does, that I think is, I get to work with a lot of travel partners. And the thing that he does that I think is above and beyond is he is communicating directly with you. He's giving you, a lot of information about Rocky Mountaineer, but he's also giving you a lot of information about your family. Mm-hmm. I mean, knowing you now for a few years, I feel like I've been on your family journey with you for a good bit. So, but I love the fact that you have that personal connection, and if you are, if you have not worked with Rocky Mountaineer yet, this is something that if you've been to any of our road shows over the last year, this was my headline, was don't reach out to your account manager for the first time when there's a problem. You want to establish that relationship ahead of time, well ahead of time, because and I highly recommend that it's via the phone or do a video call, because now I've been in the travel industry for a few years, and I over and over again, it's this serendipitous experience through a phone conversation where the travel pro is wanting to know about one thing, the the supplier, the manager of the account, is they know their product very well, but they get to know each other, and there's this synergistic blend that's where the magic is, and that's where you become indispensable not only to the partner, but then also to your clients, because now you have someone. Wasn't there like a financial company that had like, you have someone in the whatever industry?
Yeah, it was a jewelry company.
It was a jewelry. Oh yeah, you have somebody in the yeah. Well, we're not going to give out their tagline, but I'm
Yes.
just saying, you're not just selling a brand. You're selling this relationship that you have, and so I highly recommend. Jeff's information is in World Be a Pro, so you can look up Rocky Mountaineer. He keeps that up to date with all the information. You can learn about their education programs, any kind of special announcements, any news that might be going on, and you do an amazing newsletter.
Thank you.
Not Rocky Mountaineer, but Jeff does an
Yeah.
amazing newsletter that I think is it's worth its weight in gold. But an email doesn't really have a weight, so.
Well, I do say that if you don't hear from me on a once-a-month basis, what the e-blast that he's referring to, please email me. Once again, my contact information's out there for you, and I would love to put you on the distribution list. I will not send you more than one email a month unless you respond. If you write to me, of course you're going to hear from me. But know that I'm really trying to make it short and sweet. I know everyone gets hundreds, if not thousands of emails, and I want to make it as easy to read through, skim through, but also provide that personal touch, because I'm very blessed. I have a 2-year-old named Christina, a 6-year-old named Sophia, and honestly, even before they were both born, I was always sharing a little personal side of me. But now that I've been blessed with them in my life, it's so nice to have this to share a couple images and what's going on in their world. The following I have, I'm just being real, is incredible. I have over 10,000 agents that I send this out to. I get an average of 2,000 to 4,000 responses after this e-blast, and about 90% of those responses are about my daughters.
Right.
And it's gone to the point now where if I don't send it by the middle of the month, I have advisors and such asking me, am I on your list still? What happened? Is everything okay? Or, it's crazy, the following.
You get a wellness check because you are not.
Yeah, well,
you're not
and
communicating.
I'll show up at places and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, Jeff, how's your daughters?" Maybe have never talked to this person in my entire life, but they know my daughters, they know their names, they know everything they're doing, and it's such an easy way to already have that kind of trust and conversation, because I know that, hey, I may have not talked to you before, but you are a follower of what I'm putting out there. Maybe we've talked via email, and it just allows me to really, if you will, for both of us, the people we're talking to, is to put down our shields and just be real people, because that's what life is. It's you work hard, you play hard, but if you're able to talk about what really drives you, what makes you feel blessed in this world, that's where you can see the true passion come out. And I am very highly passionate when it comes to travel with Rocky Mountaineer. I've been with them for just under 10 years, and I love the company, part because they have a good balance of work and family, and that's huge in my life. But if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And so with that type of passion and drive, I feel I have fun when I'm able to talk about something that I truly do love. I've done the trip in the Canadian Rockies over 10 times. I've done the U.S. trip already 3 times.
I was going to get to that. Like,
Yeah.
what were your experiences? So you did see all the moons of America.
I've seen quite a few. Some I wish
Okay.
I never did. But I mean, let's just kind of move up to the Canadian Rockies.
Yeah.
I have a real unique wildlife story because I have I've always gone and I've always seen a bear, knock on wood. My statistics are 100% for a bear sighting. There's black, brown, grizzly bears for the most part. And we operate from mid-April to mid-October in the Canadian Rockies.
Okay.
And this past trip, it was mid-May, I was up there and we were coming closer to, I want to say it was right outside of Lake Louise. So we're in this sweet spot in the Canadian Rockies where you really have a strong chance of seeing a lot of bears, especially because there's rivers there and the bears love coming down eating. And so we're slowing down, and I'm pretty sure I know why, because there is wildlife, and we have spotters on our train. The conductors are also spotters, and they are telling all the hosts on board. And we have hosts and hostesses who are going to handle all the commentary and do storytelling, tell jokes, keep you really entertained and aware of everything. And so they have little earpieces. They know when there's wildlife, and they'll shout out, "Oh, bears on the left." We're going about 5 miles an hour, if that, and my level of expectation now, because I've always seen a bear, it's like, oh, cool, bear, yay. I want to see now bear fights, bear mating. I want to see something that's got a little bit more, oomph, because that's where I'm at. And I have a video, and I share it with some of my presentations that I do, and all of a sudden, I see something I've never seen before. And I go, holy cow, and I didn't say this, I said it's a freaking, but I didn't say the word freaking in front of everyone, it's a freaking polar bear. And because I didn't know what it was a white bear, which is very unique. It wasn't a polar bear. I learned later, after I was corrected, that this was called a Kermode bear, or a albino black bear. It's also known as the spirit bear, which is only about 300 in existence. So very rare, hanging with a grizzly bear. So I got what I'm calling a white polar bear, and I'm like, holy cow, they're gonna fight, because they were kind of looking at each other, and the grizzly bear was kind of like shaking his, brushing the dirt, and it just looked like they're gonna go. And I'm like, so I got the whole entire train car, I go like, fight, fight, fight. But I got the whole video, and it was just something unique. Once again, very rare to see a spirit bear hanging out with a grizzly bear, because grizzly bears and black bears don't get along whatsoever. But yeah.
Okay.
Going right next to the train, 50 feet away, if that. Pretty cool.
So there's an old song called Teddy Bear's Picnic, and you know what? I kind of felt like with the spirit bear and the grizzly bear, they were just having a great time, breaking down a salmon and just, doing a nice slow pour on a beer. But no, you were like, fight, fight, fight.
Well, or mate, either or.
Or, you know what?
I want to see something than just,
a little umph is what he said, guys. Yeah. I know you heard that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just being real.
Just being weird and real. Lisa Hodrick said, "Hi, Jeff." Thank you guys for tuning in live. And obviously, you can watch us on demand everywhere. And our producer, Evan, doesn't this also go out on its own podcast as well? Yeah, so on your favorite podcasting channel, you might be listening to this. Do you do the podcast? Do you listen to podcasts?
So I have a few, and I've done several podcasts. And so I don't try to listen to myself, to be honest, because I'm like, been there, done that.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's very informational. What we are able to, pretty much listen to while we're driving till, for a long time. That's when I usually put a podcast on, is when I need to get somewhere and I got like 3 hours to kill. It's like, this is perfect. I can be into something that's I've never, really got into. So
yeah, the podcast is, we were on one of our Diamond Voyages, which is a special trip we do each year, and one of our members who's been with us for many, many years, I said, do you like to watch our partner spotlights or our weekly chatter live? And she said, oh, I would love to watch them, but if I am at my computer, I am working for my clients. I am putting together vacations and things like that. And I said, I hear you. She said, but I would love it if you would do a podcast, so while I'm walking my dog, I can participate. And so that's how we got started in podcasts, all because of Lisa telling us that she wanted to be able to to listen to this wonderful conversation about what's going to be magical about the spirit bears. I want to see a little more umph when I'm seeing some bears. So,
you can go to a zoo anytime and see wildlife, but to see a spirit bear hanging out with a grizzly bear, they won't even keep them in the same cages. I promise you that. But it's those types of unique experiences, and I'm not trying to be too squirrely and go down rabbit holes here and there, but I do believe that the stories and the experiences you have on these trips of a lifetime last with you forever. And I am all about sharing these incredible moments that I've had on Rocky Mountaineer with all of you, because those are the types of experiences you're going to live with for the rest of your life. And it's unique. I guarantee there's many people who have never ever seen or even heard of a spirit bear, and they're like, wow, like that's something totally, once in a lifetime. And it may be, so.
That's very cool. I didn't even know. I mean, I've heard my spirit animal is this, but I didn't even know that was a thing.
Right.
So it would be extremely cool. Now, one of the things I do know is in Canada. Did you ever hear the story of why Oprah stopped doing the news?
No, tell me.
So she worked at a regular news station, and she was just a newsreader. And she's just, the teleprompter's going, and she's doing serious, and it gets to Canada, and she reads it as Canada. And she was like, that was the moment that she realized she was disconnected from what she was doing. So
she's very smart. I'm
then
surprised.
She started her own TV show.
Oh,
wow.
mean,
so a little mistake like that, you just never know.
Costs you.
But anyway, so in Canada, we're seeing a lot more wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not deserty.
No.
Not deserty. And your trains are a little taller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So what he's referring to is not the wheels being bigger, suspensions or anything like that. We have two types of train cars. In the U.S., it's a single-story car, dome windows, arch windows, and you are eating at your seat. You have an outdoor veranda space you can still access while you're on board the train. It's just a different type of experience. In Canada, we have a two-story train car, bi-level coach dome, 360-degree dome windows on the top level. You sit primarily on the top of this train car for your viewing purposes of the beautiful Canadian Rockies and the glaciers and all the wildlife. And then downstairs, you have a full dining area where we take people in a first and second seating. And if you're ever on the second seating and you may be hungry, know that they're going to feed you snacks. You're going to actually eat more food than you would on the first seating. And usually it's 2 days on the train. So if you're on the first seating the first day, you'll be on the second seating the second day. And so everyone's fair. Everyone wins. But still, I digress. On the food, you're looking at 2 to 3 appetizer options, 5 to 6 entree options, multiple dessert options that change daily for all of your meals on board. Breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner, pending your itinerary. And these are cooked made to order a few feet away from where you're sitting. When I say fine dining, I know you're like, fine dining on a train, really? I'm like, no, really. It's true fine dining with all those variety of options, alcohol completely included. It is a unique experience that you will truly love, and the food on board is just incredible. You have an outdoor veranda space that holds around 15 to 20 people comfortably, small lounge area. Every single train car has 2 restrooms, one that's wheelchair accessible as well as one that's just a regular restroom, but very clean, very spacious. The chairs, leather, built-in charging capabilities for your phones, tablets, whatever. Built-in heating, built-in cooling on your seats. They're hard shells, so you're not encroaching anyone's space when you perhaps recline. Footrests that are all electric that come up. I mean, it's just plush. True luxury at its finest on an amazing, unique train car. And these are train cars that we build from the ground up. Even the suspensions on these train cars are millions of dollars. And I've traveled with many folks who have motion sickness or vertigo, and when they're with us on the train cars, they are amazed at how they don't feel anything at all. And they'll go on a gondola and all of a sudden like, oh boy, I'm starting to feel it, but on the train car, it's very slow. It's very smooth. If you do have like you know what, I maybe need a blow of breath of fresh air. Go outside anytime you like while it's moving, except when it's in a tunnel, because some of the tunnels, if they're long, the smoke from the engine will come up, and then you'll walk in back in the train car and you'll be all covered in soot. So that'll
Oh
ruin
my
your
gosh,
clothes.
you have a total like Mary Poppins,
Yes,
the
yes.
chimney sweep. Yes, yes.
That's exactly, and it's happened to me. On the first time that I was literally on the train, they try to give every single new team member the opportunity to experience us before we start selling. So I was like my second week on the job. I go up and do the train, and no one told me to like stay inside when
That's
we're
the
in the tunnel.
initiation. That's
Pretty much. And I was just so blown away at everything, but I'm out there with my camera videotaping so much, and we go through this tunnel, and some of the tunnels are very short, so it's nothing. It's the big ones where the engine's still inside and the smoke is going in there. There's nowhere to escape. That's the ones that you have an issue with. And so I'm in the pitch black darkness, and I'm like, boy, this is taking a while. It was about 7 minutes of pitch black darkness, and I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna go in because who knows when this ends. I walk in and I look down. I was wearing a white shirt like this. It was black. My whole face, everything was covered. I was like, oh my gosh. It was ruined for the day, and I was able to clean my skin, but like my clothes were stained. I mean, it was bad. I was just like, holy cow. I mean, you hit me and it was like, poof, and they're like laughing at me, and
They're like, you're not going to get to sit in our plush leather seats.
I had to clean myself a lot in that bathroom. I mean, literally, it was embarrassing. They even gave me a blanket to put down over the seat. I guarantee you they did. Because I remember, like, I was like, what do I, like, yeah, we don't want to ruin this. Like, so, I mean, don't go out when the tunnels are going. Hey, from personal experience.
Well, and you know what? I'm just totally off the train topic, but
Yeah.
when you are in destination or you're with a travel partner, listen to what they say, because I had an experience in Hadrian's Wall in England where the lady at the gift shop told me, do not run. And I thought, I am a grown person. I'm not going to run. What happened is I was walking on a bit of Hadrian's Wall, and I jumped off the wall. And at this point, it's almost just like a step. But I jumped off and slid and fell. No, I wasn't in pain, because what I slid into was sheep excrement. So then I had to get on the transfer, and there's no change of clothes.
Yeah.
But what was worse is I had to go to the lady at the gift shop to ask for a garbage bag, and she made sure that was the most drawn out experience of I told you none of your tomfoolery on our site. But that was Hadrian's Wall for me. But you had black soot all over you, so no, it was telling ruined stories. But hey, aren't we blessed that we get to travel and experience?
That's right.
Whether it's the Canadian Rockies and the wilderness, it is the deserts and the beautiful rocks, the Colorado River. I mean, hello, these are really, really cool experiences. And correct me if I'm wrong, you do work with some cruise partners.
We do.
For some nice land portions to extend out some of those cruises. That's a big deal.
It is. So, I mean, I would say for the Canadian Rockies, our pre and post cruise tour options, and we work with tons of great cruise lines. We work with, of course, lots of tour operators out there as well. So you have lots of options to look at luxury rail travel with Rocky Mountaineer through third parties and everything. I will always recommend working with a travel pro, because that's your first line where you need to start there, and then let them help navigate through all the different options out there to make it work best. But the cruise tours are something that has become quite strong. Many still go to Alaska. Many have done Denali, Anchorage, Alyeska, Alaska, Homer, you name it, and I've done it myself. And if you perhaps want the best of the best, and you perhaps think of yourself as a luxury type of person who wants to stay in those castles like the Fairmonts and such, the nicest hotel in Alaska is in Alyeska. That's a 4-star property. You're not going to get much more luxury than that, just to be honest, from what they have up there. And if you are perhaps doing an Alaska cruise and you want that lavish lifestyle, you got to think Canadian Rockies with us, because we are using 5-star true Fairmonts, the Rimrock, Four Seasons, Sutton Place, incredible properties that we are able to help you pretty much make your vacation that much more memorable with along the whole entire way in this beautiful part of the world, the Canadian Rockies. And there's a big difference between the U.S. Rockies and the Canadian Rockies. Both are beautiful and everything, but holy cow, I would just say the Canadian Rockies are just another step up. And I'm not trying to put, once again, shade on the U.S. It's tough. They're just different. I feel like the Canadian Rockies are more close, and you're not perhaps hiking sometimes miles to get to certain areas where you're able to see these incredible, amazing glaciers or mountains and such. The Canadian Rockies are very accessible through the Columbia Icefield Parkway, which is one of the most scenic highways in the world. It connects Jasper and Lake Louise and Banff, and we have multiple tours and operations on this whole entire route. So, those types of areas and allowing you to get close to where it's the best is what it's really all about. And yeah, I know we've kind of deterred from the whole pre and post, but very popular. You can start in Calgary, do a pre and right into Vancouver and jump on your cruise, or a post and go from Vancouver to Calgary. Calgary is a very big city. It's known for its Calgary Stampede, which is a big event that takes place in July, where you get a bunch of bull riders and cowboys in town. It's also known for the Olympics, Winter Olympics, with the ski jump and the bobsled, but you won't get those in the summertime. Still, it's a great city, big airport, allowing you to get back and forth to the U.S. very easily. Cruising, very popular. Alaska has become an amazing place that we see a lot more cruise lines now operating out of. I think there's a lot of new ships that are being put into the market up in Alaska, which is exciting. And for even those who've done it once, they want to do it again, because there's still different excursions, different experiences to have. And so think of us if you're looking at doing an Alaska cruise. We have a lot of great cruise partners and other third parties out there that work with us, but starts all with the Travel Pro.
Yes. And remember that this is, when we say trains, these are not the trains that we see on Masterpiece Theater on PBS. This
Correct.
is we are experiencing everything. There is nothing hidden from us. This is, what a great way to not everybody is a running, jumping, climbing trees kind of person. I am not one of those people. So I do want to experience my spirit animals, but I do want to be in my own controlled temperature seat.
Right.
You had me at hot or cold. Like, I can, cool down. I need to heat it up a little bit. I do like the temperature controlled seat.
Those little things add so much, but
Yeah.
that's what makes us, once again, so unique and different from other operators out there.
Now, Debbie has asked us a question in the Members Only Facebook group. She said, can you talk a little bit about Silverleaf and Gold Leaf
Yes.
service? So we were just talking about this before we came on. So
Yeah,
thank you, Debbie, for teeing it up.
Thank you. So Silverleaf is offered pretty much only in the U.S. Rockies, our Rockies to Red Rocks route. We're also going to be expanding a lot in the U.S., which is quite exciting. So get ready for some new routes that will be shared, hopefully for the 2025 season. So
It's Philly to Atlanta is what we're doing.
He's totally wrong. I'm just being real.
Hey, what's wrong with that?
No, it would be wonderful. I just think, though, there's still a lot more things out west that have more, I don't know. No, Philly to Atlanta sounds great, too. Okay, so the Silverleaf is a single-story car. It's got panoramic views with an arch window at the top. You have an outdoor vestibule area that holds around 6 people comfortably. You can go outside once again anytime you like. You have 3 hosts or hostesses on board who are going to handle all the commentary, talk about what's coming up ahead, what's outside your window, doing storytelling, telling jokes. You also have all the food delivered to your seat, 1 to 2 appetizer options, 2 to 3 entree options, and a dessert option, all inclusive alcohol. It's it's incredible. Now, the Gold Leaf is a two-story car. I kind of shared with it a little bit ago where you have the 4 hosts as opposed to 3. Outdoor veranda space holds a lot more people, more variety of food options, all-inclusive alcohol. So the parallels that we have is the service on board, where you're going to have some of the hosts who have actually done both are going to be on either the U.S. route or the Canadian route. We don't have our Gold Leaf cars in the U.S. because there's tunnels that don't allow the height of our Gold Leaf cars, unfortunately. We paid a company hundreds of thousands of dollars to tell us that, by the way. Anyway, with that being said, I will say that we are going to be rebranding our trains in the U.S. very, very soon. So by the end of this year, beginning of next, it will no longer be called Silverleaf. So we're going to have, because we're going to be expanding a lot more in the U.S., it will still be owned and operated by Rocky Mountaineer, but the train will be called something different so that we have the Canadian Rockies train and the U.S. Rockies train. Name to come. I don't actually know it, but there's names.
No, aren't we doing it? Isn't
Yeah.
that a part of the show? Like we're gonna do just a free for all. You just
We can take
yeah.
ideas.
Yeah,
ideas are welcome.
Just send your requests for the U.S. version of Rocky Mountaineer. I'd love to hear. What was that? There was a scientific expedition boat the UK did, and they wanted to call it Mr. Tugboat Face or something like that, and the government was like, no, you can't do that. And
Probably because tugboats might be copyrighted. Who knows? Whatever.
I don't know, but no, it needs to be style and sophistication because
Yes.
that's Rocky Mountaineer.
Yes.
Right? Now, you've mentioned, I love how you count how many appetizers and entree options you have. I
just know the specifics. I get into the weeds. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, but if I want multiple desserts, can I have multiple desserts?
You can have multiple entrees.
Okay, I was
Because
gonna
I
say,
like to eat, and I'm just being real.
The way that you were counting it down, I was like, oh, only 3 options. I don't know if I can handle that.
That's on Silverleaf. Gold Leaf, it's 6, up to 6 options. So let's just be real. No, it's I love food, and so whenever it comes to eating, a lot of times if it's for myself and my wife, we'll each have our own entree and have an entree to share in the middle, which is a great idea because sometimes there's too many good things to choose from, and I highly recommend trying everything you can because you'll never maybe have it again. So,
but you know what I don't like, and now we're just not even going to talk about Rocky.
Yeah, let's go down
You
this.
and I love food. I don't like when, as a group, we've decided that we're going to order our own entrees or starters, whatever.
For the group.
Well, no, we're saying, hey, we're going to just do our own thing. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, there's like that one person who's pushing, you need to try this, and there's only 3 oysters. So if you share it, then like now I feel like I have to share my mac and cheese with you, and I'm like, no, see, that wasn't the choice. This wasn't a Chinese food option.
You offered yours. Don't touch mine.
Yeah, exactly. Like let's have that conversation ahead of time.
I think it needs to be laid out. There's got to be some sort of guidelines involved when it comes to sharing. And if you have someone at your table who is eagerly like, oh, you got to try this, you like set expectations accordingly. Similar to what a travel pro should do. You should say, yeah, I would love to, but no, you're not touching mine.
Right.
You know, just straight out and be like, because I love it, and no means no.
Yeah. But ahead of time, though, if we want to just, let's take one of everything and then we'll share, I'm okay with that. But don't, like, change the rules after the food shows up.
100%.
And Tara, I'm speaking to you because you just did that to me 2 nights ago where you had 3 oysters. And
I figured there's got to be, because you were so specific on
it. Was
like 3 oysters.
Yeah, she was like, we all ordered our own starters, and then she had 3, so she gave 2 away. That left her with 1. So then I had more. Anyway,
I get it.
I'm just saying it wasn't nice of you, but no, thank you for explaining that. And if anybody, Paul, who is our live studio audience member here. It was Bodie McBoatface was the name of it. Yeah.
Actually, that name is awesome.
Yeah.
I'd take that.
But it was
a
UK science boat, right? It was, yes. Okay. Evan and Paul are both giving me that. Yeah. Bodie McBoatface. And it was a nationwide, I remember it was nationwide in the UK competition to name this very serious scientific expedition ship.
You can tell where everyone's minds are these
Yep,
days.
they were in the pub.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were in the pub and they came up with that. No. So I went, now speaking of, this was a segue I wasn't prepared for. So I want to share, so you and I met virtually in 2020. That's what we were kind of figuring out. That's
Yeah.
what it was. So I had a trip to London. I have a lot of family in London. I love that. To me is a vacation, even if I don't do anything but spend time with my family. I just love being there.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I had never done was go to the Albert Hall to see the proms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you know anything about this?
I do. I've heard of it and I haven't done it myself.
Okay.
I did the Keukenhof Gardens in Amsterdam and I thought that was incredible.
Okay, well, I haven't done that, and I'm about to go to Amsterdam, so I better...
You got to go in the springtime because that's when the Keukenhof Garden, the tulips are
Okay,
blooming.
well, but I'm missing the tulips. I know that's not happening. But
Okay.
anyway, so I want to do the proms, and the whole thing with the proms is it was the Royal Albert Hall is a beautiful, beautiful venue. But the proms are all about exposing this beautiful music and artistry at a very affordable price. So this is going way, way back into history that this has been going on. So while I was staying there, the proms were going on. And I go by myself. Yeah, some people won't go to a restaurant or a movie by themselves. I'm not that person. I actually prefer that. I don't want anybody messing up my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I got my seats and I'm sitting next to this very nice couple. And during the intermission, we start to talking, and the wife is talking to me, and she references the husband and how he loves trains.
Mm-hmm.
And they travel 4 times a year. They put together different train groups for people that love trains. And at that point, I knew about Rocky Mountaineer. I have not experienced it myself. I just know, I want to make sure that it's clear this is not a regular train. This is not just looking out the little portal. This is, a full-on experience. So I name dropped a little bit. I was like, what else? Outside of Amtrak, which I have lots of love for Amtrak, but that's the only, that's the only train I could think of, right? This man, pushed her out of the way to sit next to me so we could talk more in depth about, and at that point, I didn't know about all the moons of America that you could see. But
Most people don't until you're on it.
Yeah, but that's so there are people who not only want to experience the Canadian Rockies, or the deserts and the experiences in America. There are people that, from a train perspective, they love trains, and this is a very unique experience. So anyway, I had to share that with you because it was like me showing off a little bit and name dropping. And I mean, if we were out on the street and not in the Royal Albert Hall, I swear he would have thrown her into the street and she would have been hit by a cab or something, because he
was
wanted
that excited.
He wanted to talk more, and all I could do is say everything that I had picked up from your newsletters and from our conversations. But I do know that he was, the very next year he was traveling with you, so that would have been, I can't remember now what year that would have been. So anyway,
that's amazing. I
so,
love that.
So
there's a lot of train
all over
enthusiasts.
the world.
I grew up, my dad, I don't know if you had any train toys, but HO scale, for example, the trains that run on, you can hook them up with the tracks and make these little sleeves and everything. I had a whole HO train set growing up. My dad had a whole HO train set. My brother, we all had our own sets, and we would put mountains and bridges, and it was kind of like a bonding thing that we did as a family. And still to this day, it's something I always look back, and I've never thought ever that I would come to be working for a train company. But now I actually have some of the HO scale handheld trains of Rocky Mountaineer and the Gold Leaf cars. So I have them going, on my set, which is really unique and just kind of brings you back 180 from where you were, as a little kid, and you're back to playing with trains. So there's a lot of train clubs, train museums, train enthusiasts out there. There's tons of social media groups that focus on trains, and getting involved and sharing this type of experience, which is very unique. What Rocky Mountaineer offers to those types of clubs and folks who are interested can really, I think, open not only their minds to oh my gosh, where have I been, because if they don't know anything about it, they're going to be very excited. Especially, we have great 1 to 2 minute videos, the 1 to 2 minute videos on the train, so you can see what it's like, and everything I've shared with you, you can look at it and watch in a 1 to 2 minute segment everything what it's like on board, where our routes take you. So if you're not sure which route do I do, because we got three train routes in the Canadian Rockies, you can watch a 2-minute video and see the highlights of each route to help you better understand, what's coming up ahead, or this waterfall's on this one, this bridge is on this one, and that's the reason why I'm choosing this, and the places we're taking you to, even if you want to look more in details on Banff and Lake Louise Jasper, Moab, into the beautiful red rocks of Arches and Canyonlands and Dead Horse Point, where Thelma and Louise went off the cliff. All those are places we take people to. It's true. That's right.
You know what? That is what I expect out of a partner spotlight, is to maybe share some intimate stories about sheep excrement, and then also to know where Thelma and Louise
went off the cliff. Dead Horse Point. It's right in Canyonlands. It's about 15 minutes from Moab, which is where we take you. And so we go right to the spot where they drove their car right off the edge. So we take people right there. And it's a beautiful area. I mean, I've been to the Grand Canyon, the North Rim, as well as another section of the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
I really believe Dead Horse Point is even more wow. There's more color, and it's bigger. You get the canyon, it's one big, crevice, and it's kind of cool how it winds with the river. The Dead Horse Point, you can see the canyon go almost in a zigzag, like an S, and you're standing on this one spot in the middle, so you have to, go out to the middle of the canyon, but all around you is this canyon that follows you around, and it's just, there's more. I feel like it's just more wow, if you will. So it's hard to describe. The adjective that I'm saying is wow, but it is a wow feeling. We're like, I don't remember the Grand Canyon being this wow, and I'm here and I'm like, holy cow. I mean, it's just, and the colors really light it up on the sides of the cliffs and everything, and it's cool.
So if you had a first timer, and they're going to do, let's see, 2 holidays with you, one year, one the next year.
Okay.
What would be, and you have to choose for them. Yeah, I mean, I know you.
I know I could do it.
Okay.
I could, because I've helped just being real with my friends and family. I've had my parents go and stuff, and so this is what I would recommend. You can't compare apples to apples with U.S. and Canada. 2 different routes, 2 different areas, 2 different scenery, even 2 different price points, to be quite honest, because there's not that many 5-star hotels in the U.S. Moab has no 5-star hotels. Bryce, where we overnight for a night, there's only 1 hotel. It's a Best Western Plus, which is better than a minus, but the plus does not add much. So expectations. And so if you were to do the U.S., so if you'd mind, it's 2 holidays. One's going to be U.S., one's going to be Canada. Yep. I would personally do the U.S. one first.
Okay.
Because I believe that you could... one, it's entry level into it. And I do think Canadian Rockies is the ultimate. It's kind of like the best of the best. U.S. is a great experience. The train car is beautiful, but if you have yet to do the Gold Leaf car, you do the Silver Leaf first. That way, it only gets better. Kind of like the best is yet to come, if you will. So I would do the U.S. route first. I would experience our U.S. national parks. I would personally do between Las Vegas and Denver. We have a route where it's via motor coach that will take you either eastbound or westbound. You choose the direction. I personally would recommend going eastbound, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. When you go from Vegas, you're going to head straight over into Bryce and Zion. You'll be overnighting in Bryce. You're going to stop at Coral Reef National Park. All these are guided tours, multiple meals included, but you're pretty much handheld from beginning to end into Moab. Moab, 2 nights in Moab. Now, the reason why I chose eastbound is that when you go from Glenwood Springs to Moab, you are having breakfast on board, arriving in Moab around 12 noon, leaving around 7 a.m. If you go from Moab to Glenwood Springs, heading eastbound, you would be boarding around 2 p.m., having dinner on board. I think dinner is way better than breakfast. They're both good, but dinner to me is wow. And I love sleep. So that's another reason why I like going a little bit on the eastbound side, so you're not waking up and being at the train at 7 in the morning. Both times between Glenwood Springs and Denver, 9 to 5, 9 to 6 is your average time on board the train. And you can see with my personal experience, I can get down to the weeds. I can talk about hotels, different tours, all of these different types of experiences to, help the travel pros out there watching, or you yourself. If you're not with a travel pro and you want to be, the travel pros are going to be the ones who you're going to want to work with, because I can give them the insider knowledge of what I recommend as best way to go. Canadian Rockies, it's no matter what going eastbound. I love starting in Vancouver, heading east. When you head that direction, the hills become mountains. The mountains become glaciers. The wildlife gets so much more amazing. The best is yet to come. The Canadian Rockies, Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff. I highly recommend spending multiple nights in those areas so you're able to slow time down, enjoy where you are. And finally, there's one route, the First Passage to the West, 7 nights, very popular. If you can do the Journey Through the Clouds, which is getting you up to Jasper, then you're able to, it's going to be an average of, if you do it right, doing it my way, 9 nights, 10 days, 2 nights Jasper, 2 nights Lake Louise, 2 nights Banff. You are able to say that you've seen and done what the Canadian Rockies have to offer, including the Columbia Icefield Parkway. That's like a check mark to the best. If you have more time in your life to be able to spend away, then the round trip Vancouver, it's 5 days on the train, 7 nights in the Canadian Rockies. That is the best. That's what I recommended my parents to do. They loved it. My wife and I have done it before. So that would be the most train time, the most time in the Canadian Rockies, 7 nights in the Canadian Rockies, 5 days on the train. You're not repeating anything. It's one simple big loop, but you are not going back and seeing something you already saw the day before or a couple days ago. It's all new stuff. And 3 nights Banff, 2 nights Lake Louise, 2 nights Jasper. That is the definition of a trip of a lifetime.
That's amazing. No, thank you. So if you were listening to that, that is straight from the horse's mouth.
Yep.
This is not somebody who just started with the company. He knows, and I purposefully asked that question because that's the kind of advice that you want. I am not somebody who Googles the heck out of a destination or a vacation, holiday, whatever I'm going to do. I just take the time off, and I trust that it's going to be amazing. But I also have fear of missing out. So the people who are in the know, like travel pros, then I'm like, I foiled again. So I like that you gave us your take on it, but the time's done. I mean, the hour flew by.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I'm glad. I am so glad that you got to experience the Sequin Palace, and we get to share our stories. So you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
And especially when you finally, that new name,
Yeah.
And as names come in, I'll share them with you just in case your company wants some unsolicited advice on the brand name. But thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it.
Joshua, the pleasure's all mine. Honestly, it's been such a great relationship that we've had for several years now. The travel pros out there, thank you all for your amazing support, your time. Know that I'm always there to support you. You need anything, I'm there for you. So you let me know. We can go down a rabbit hole. We can get into the weeds of details of each hotel, types of food, what restaurants to go to. I really am a wealth of knowledge, and I will always be candid and transparent. So know that you'll get the real answer. There's nothing messed up with that. So I think that's a good way to being, passionate and positive and factual.
That's a great way to wrap this up. Hey, if you want to learn more, obviously, please go to World Be a Pro and look up Rocky Mountaineer. You will find Jeff's information as well as any news. He updates that all the time, but you definitely do want to get on his email list so you can hear about his family. That's really what you want to hear about. But please connect with them, and please look at Rocky Mountaineer as a specific holiday, or as add-on pre-post to the cruises that you might be doing in Alaska. Rave reviews, believe me, we don't bring partners to the studio unless we really believe in them and we really believe that Rocky Mountaineer has a beautiful product. So experience it for yourself. And just a little birdie told me that, if you do go into Supplier Source, and there might be some information on how you yourself as a travel pro can experience it for yourself, so you can better advise your clients. Until next time, again, this was Rocky Mountaineer. We had Jeff in the studio here in Roswell, Georgia. I am one of your hosts here at World Via in the studio, Joshua Harrell. Please join us next time for the next Partner Spotlight. We will see you real soon. Take care. Bye.